When Islamic terror strikes, blossoms of blame erupt. Rolling Stone blames guns, of course, the tool a terrorist uses rather than the terrorist himself. So better to disarm than defend. No thanks. Guns don't cause terror, but it can surely stop it. Trump blames terrorists, but The View blames Trump. Huffington Post and others somehow blame Christians. Yeah, Christians. Their point is, it's not just Muslims who are bad, it's these guys who won't bake cakes. This is what identity politics has done. An attack on Americans used to be an attack on Americans. Now we just can't hold it together. Even our president seems more worked up over reactions than realities.
The main contribution of some of my friends on the other side of the aisle have made in the fight against ISIL is to criticize this administration and me for not using the phrase radical Islam. What exactly would using this label accomplish? Calling a threat by a different name does not make it go away. This is a political distraction.
Yeah, he's ticked. But it's us who should be mad. Here's more blame from the New York Times. You're going to love this. While the precise motivation for the rampage remains unclear, it is evident that Mr. Mateen was driven by hatred towards gays and lesbians. This is the state of American politics, driven too often by Republican politicians who see prejudice as something to exploit. This is amazing. See, it's Republicans, it's not terrorists. But wasn't a terrorist a Democrat? The orgy of blame generated by competing identities obscures a gleeful enemy that now nails soft targets at will. Deflection is denial, as we can't admit the problem, which is Islamism. The consequence, the fight's not engaged, it wages longer, more people die. The sooner we admit the problem, the sooner we can get help. Send everyone to Islamophobia Phobia Anonymous to get over your fear of being called Islamophobic, because it's not just a fear, it's going to be our doom. Hey, Dana, after each event, everyone rushes to their corner in a way.
Now?
But, yeah. I mean, is this just the way it is now?
I guess it is the way that it is now. It doesn't have to be, okay? And I think everyone is guilty of it in some ways, partly because it happens so often that now it's this common occurrence. And so you see, like, they basically just have to fire up the old rinse and repeat talking points and put the president out there, have to give a statement. FBI is going to give a statement. I agree with you. Yesterday you said that Twitter is the one thing. Immediately everyone makes their statements on, tweets them out without thinking things through.
I'm not talking, not people. I'm talking about the media. There's a difference.
I'm not a politician.
Yeah.
I'm not a politician.
Yeah.
So, in terms of, just waiting for a second. The interesting thing on the piece about the New York Times saying that Mateen was motivated because of his hatred of gays and lesbians, and this is the Republicans' fault. So we've just gone through a primary season where we had a very active electorate, I think record-setting. We did exit polls in almost every state, and across the board, in not one exit poll did Republicans say that gay marriage was still their issue. It is the first presidential election in many presidential elections where gay marriage has not even been on the radar on either side.
Yes.
And so I feel like a lot of these places, like the New York Times editorial board, want to refight a war they already won.
Exactly, right.
And they're dragging, and that is displacing attention from the real problem, which is homegrown terrorism, recruitment by ISIS.
Eric, it seems like it's just, it's easier to deflect than to actually look terror in its face and see what it is.
Greg, I'd like to start with, my name is Eric, and I'm a radical Islamophobic.
Yes.
But I don't want to get over it, nor should we, and I think more people should be as well. I mean, it is radical Islamism that's killing people, not Muslims, radical form of Islamism. But again, the moderate Muslims need to step up and turn in the radicals to make this work. As far as the media, what did you expect from the New York Times? What do you expect from HuffPo? Any chance they can, they're going to point the finger at Republicans. Right. But the problem is, for how long now, Democrats have said, we need to be the Big Tent. We need to embrace all forms of love. Fantastic, great. LGBT community, that's wonderful. But they've also said we need to incorporate this open country, embrace Muslims and all forms of other people as well. Well, when you have the crossing of those two, now this guy didn't shoot up, as far as we know right now, the gay club because he was ticked off at gays. He shot it up because he pledged allegiance to al-Baghdadi and ISIS. We know it. His father knew it. So when you have
Disney
that crossing,
was a bad target.
and yeah, Disney wasn't a soft enough target.
Exactly.
He needed the fish in the barrel, so he did it there. But when you cross it and then you push a Democrat and say, well, what's going to be? Are you going to go? Are you going to lean? Are you going to look into this issue, this open immigration policy that you all want, and say there are problems with it, or are you going to say we'll deal with more of these because there'll be a lot more of these? Because in the Quran, Dr. Gorka sat here last night and told us, in the Quran, if you don't ascribe to Sharia law, you're an infidel and you should be killed, and gays clearly don't.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go with that interpretation. I think he's right in terms of what it says explicitly, but you can find that. I mean, in the Old Testament, you can find issues like that, Eric. I mean, but it's there, and if people who want to read it exactly and explicitly, yeah, if they want it, it's there. But, I mean, it's there for lots of faiths, and it's extreme, and it's unpleasant. But I would say this to you, as someone who has been fired and accused of Islamophobia, I mean, that's why they fired my ass. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Did you say the butt word?
But to me, what you've got here is a situation where you have to be very cautious in saying, hey, wait, gay, homosexuality, homophobia had nothing to do with this. This guy seems to me was mentally unstable.
But this is part of the identity. This is what identity has done is he killed American citizens, and we should. You don't have to be gay to feel horror and pain.
But where's the evidence of mental instability? Where's all the records, psychiatrists?
Oh no, I think the wife said the first wife said that he was abusive, Kimberly.
Yeah, he's abusive. That doesn't mean he's mentally ill. Like, don't just throw that label on. He's a terrorist.
The gay nightclub, right?
Yes.
Why? Because there were gays there?
I don't know.
No, because do you remember he said he looked at Disney. How many gay people was he going to kill at Disney?
Mickey Mouse? I mean,
right?
really?
No,
he chose that not because there weren't enough gays to kill at Disney. He chose the gay nightclub because there was more people in one space.
Well, you're saying
and loud music at night. You wouldn't even know when people are like, oh wait, it's not part of the show. Like the pop, the noise. Same reason why the Bataclan was like an attractive target. They were both soft targets. They both had a large mass of people crowded together, confusion, trampling, and you can pick off more targets in an area. It's a target-rich environment, and it's a soft target.
Well,
so it really holds no opposition to them.
I think you're making my point, which is that this guy was unstable and seeking to kill people. But I don't know. Right.
Well,
but I don't know.
Unstable with Islamism.
Right?
You're confusing unstable with Islamism.
No.
I might agree that Islamism is unstable, but that's what drove him.
Well, I think the question, the open question in my mind, it seems to be a settled question around the table. The open question in my mind is he someone who used Islam and radical Islam as a cover for the fact that he was a crazy person?
Oh my God.
I mean, if you think of Hinckley, what did Hinckley do, right? He said, oh, I want to shot Ronald Reagan for Jodie Foster, right?
I don't think you have to be crazy to be a terrorist.
Okay.
You just have to follow a pernicious, disgusting ideology.
You can be an evil person. You can be someone that subscribes to, Sharia law and be a radical Islamist terrorist. And that's what we saw here. And that is very much the case is made by the choice of his two potential targets, Disney and Pulse. I mean, my goodness.
I think he was a loser.
It's very... Okay, well, we can call him names, but it's all done in the name of religion.
Watched airplanes fly into the World Trade Center, and fellow classmates said he jumped up and said, America deserves that.
Oh, well, that's sick. I mean, I
can't... It's also an Islamic, a radical Islamic belief.
Well, all I'm saying to you is what we know from the FBI so far is there is no evidence of him, even on his computers, and they've seized the computers, the cell phone. There's nothing that would indicate any kind of organized track of this guy actually being directed, supervised, whatever.
He listened to al-Awlaki as a mentor and imam. He went to Saudi Arabia twice.
No.
Like I said yesterday, if these red flags are still a needle in the haystack, we are screwed.
And contact
you mean everybody who goes to Mecca?
The suicide bomber in Syria that was an American, and he had direct contacts with him too, and they're just beginning to piece that all
together. Right, but in the point that he went to Mecca for the 2 trips, and don't forget, he's an American.
It's one of
actually, you know what's a funny point that you bring up? President Obama has made the same point that you just did to refute Donald Trump about his immigration stance, that all of these recent terrorist acts were performed by U.S. citizens. So it's not a race, which we already knew because it's a religious ideology.
Correct.
He is actually admitting that it is the source of this is an ideology, a religious ideology. It's not race. Obama actually is refuting his own point. Anyway.
I would just add one thing about. I do think that if you look at the San Bernardino killer, whose name is escaping me at the moment, but he did not have the history. He was not somebody who was considered to be mentally unstable, and he was radicalized, partly because of his wife. You're going to hear from Catherine Herridge in a moment about information about her. But the other thing is that ISIS recruitment, this is why this whole debate is so frustrating. We're talking about things that don't have, like gun violence or immigration. But this is a, ISIS recruits based on if you are a loser, if you feel disaffected, if you are somebody who wants to feel like you belong somewhere, and you go to one of these radical imams and you imam shop, like Gorka was saying, and then you find somebody who will tell you that like you can belong, you can be a part of something amazing, and then all of this coverage just basically gives ISIS what it needs, which is more oxygen.
But also they have people like Jihadi John, who is very well educated.
Right.
These are people who are well educated. Look at this guy here. He was able to hold down jobs, get multiple licenses and permits, and assimilate and go around and talk to people. Oh, and fix his neighbor's car.
And the difference with Jihadi John also is that they don't send him out to be a suicide bomber or to be in a position where he could be killed because they need him in a place of leadership.
Right.